think it like everything else has its pros and cons. Yeah. As working as a freshman or a D, uh, I see where it's beneficial for some students and for others. Uh, it wouldn't really matter one way or the other. It really comes down to a matter of maturity, to the degree of how well guys are able to manage their time, how well they're able to manage their visitors, how well they're able to manage the distractions. And so some guys really do need something like this because they aren't able to handle in terms of just girls coming in hours that they're not supposed to. Is that for Brazil or is that for across the board?
Brazil, across the whole board.
It happens. I mean, I don't think anyone is naive to the point where we don't think it happens or we don't think that it goes down. But where we have to look at a matter of consistency, I would say mostly during the weekends if it happened at all. If I had to think of a percentage-wise, I'd say less than half of all. Definitely, I'd say less than a third bring girls in now as opposed to. And in those instances, when we come across it as a staff, we address it. And if we don't know about it, there's really nothing we can do. For the other halls, I'd say it's about the same. I'd say usually have about a third of the guys in the halls. Not that they're throwing parties or anything, but they just have a female that wants to come over, so they do. And so.
Morning.
It goes back to my first answer that you have a lot that can. I think you have a lot that can. Unfortunately, it's not that lot that messes everything up. You only really need a few guys to mess up for everybody. We can use the suites as an example where they have 24 visitation all the time. And if what happens in the suites in terms of the parties that go on, in terms of the people, you have ladies over there that stay the night for days on end. And if that were to happen in your traditional housing, it causes a distraction for the other students, especially the freshman class that's trying to adjust, that's trying to get used to their surroundings, that's trying to get used to classes, the ones that don't necessarily have the discipline that some of the other classes do. And so you have a lot of guys that will be able to respect it, but that subset we're talking about maybe out of 600 guys, you're talking about maybe 20, 15 guys that will mess up for everybody. I'd say it's a mechanism. It's one of the many facets that I think helps with that. I've had guys come into the office that have some difficulty or don't know how to ask a girl to leave, especially for the purposes of studying, for fear of however it may look. Young lady wants to stay and he has work to do. I've had guys come in and say that they've actually used the visitation policy as a way to say, okay, it's midnight, I don't want Ruben coming around knocking on the door, you have to leave. And then being able to use that time a lot of time after midnight or before 6 to actually get a lot of their work done. Not that that's everybody, but saying that that's one example. I think the main benefit of it is the lack of distraction. Being able to have the hall quiet, being able to have less distractions, less guests, less visitors in the hall in such a way where it promotes a learning environment. It's hard to study and it's hard to focus when you have 8 girls and 9 guys in the room next door blasting music. And so, especially for freshmen, I think that it has that type of benefit. Like I said,
how do you feel about the current visitation policy as it stands?
I think it's not right that, someone can't stay after like 1 o'clock in the morning, because if you're already here at like 1 o'clock in the morning, you might as well just sleep over, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Why do they have to leave at 1 o'clock? That's even more dangerous, if you ask me, because they out in the streets by themselves, 1, 2 in the morning, and we in, we in the West End.
In your room at 2 o'clock in the morning.
So right. I will, because I don't know, I'm just saying, like, if they already here, and it's after, a certain hour, they might as well spend the night.
Every day?
Quite often. We violate these rules because they're not right. Otherwise, rules are made to be broken. So why would we have to break the rule if it was not there in the first place?
I think we definitely could handle it. I mean, the suites over there, they have people there 24/7. The upperclassmen over here, I forgot the name of that dorm building.
Maze.
Yeah, Maze. They have 24-hour visitation, so I don't see why the freshmen can't. It's like a 1 or 2 year difference max.
I say the only way we can have it is that we made it to second semester. First semester, I can understand they tied on this. It's our first time there, but we got the ropes second semester. We know what needs to be done. We can handle our own. So that's just how I feel.
No, because if you really don't want to study, then you're just not going to study. But I mean, and if you're responsible enough, which I think most people are, to realize that you need to study, then you might have a friend who's a girl who might come over here and might be good at something, and you might actually be studying. That's just what I think.
Plus, if you really want to study, you're gonna probably go to a study environment like Douglas or the library, where people actually come to study. Because I mean, other than that, distractions occur, and your hall gets pretty loud. All halls get pretty loud. So, I mean, there are other places to study if you really want to study.
The policy as it stands right now, at times I feel it's not necessary in the sense that residents are grown men and are able to make decisions for themselves. But I can see the need for a policy because typically freshmen is a transitioning period where it's hard for them to adapt, and then when you add girls into the mix, it's very easy to get sidetracked. I think visitation probably violated daily. It depends. I think that statement, well, because I know residents in my hall, I feel that residents in Brazil could possibly handle it. I think that's something that you have to gradually do and something that is just not given. I think residents will have to earn that. But ultimately, I feel that, yeah, residents on the weekend can handle a 24-hour visitation. Second semester, residents have another semester under their hand. They're more equipped and know how to balance school a little bit better. I mean, residents are grown. They have decisions to make. So I feel like they're in a position where they can handle it, or at least they're equipped to handle it. Now, whether they make the right decisions and do what's right is on them, but they are equipped to handle 24-hour visitation. I know residents may not think it does, but I think the policy actually helps. Because if you're not having a girl over, for example, now residents do not have visitation. So it's like you really don't have a choice but to do what you're supposed to do. You don't have any distractions.
How do you feel about the current visitation policy as it stands right now? What?
It sucks.
Okay, it sucks. You can elaborate?
I mean,
I feel as if it hinders my ability to be me. My hours shouldn't be restrained to only 6 hours out of the day. I could be a morning person, or I could be a late at night person.
How often do you think visitation is violated here in Brazil?
all the time.
Okay.
Every day.
Do you think that we could handle a 24-hour visitation policy on the weekends?
Yes.
Or do you want it all the time, 24/7?
I think it should be all the time.
Okay.
At other schools, it's all the time.
Okay.
Like so.
Do you think that the current visitation policy helps students focus on their studies?
No. What am I supposed to do?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like,
No, it doesn't. I mean, no.
Don't give any reasons. Okay. Do you think that females should be allowed in the main hall lobby, the one right over there, 24 hours during the cold months?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
Do you think that the students could handle a 24-hour visitation on the weekends?
Yes, we're all grown wrong in college. Let us be us.
Do you think that it should be 24/7?
Yes.
Okay. Of course. Okay. Do you think the current visitation policy helps students focus on their studies?
No, if you're bored, you don't want to do your work, you're not going to do your work regardless. It doesn't make you stay in the room. You can find something else to do. It's just why take away this from us.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Olu Abbey.
Mr. Lula, what do you feel about the current visitation policy as it stands right now?
I think the current visitation policy is awesome, but I do think it needs some work. in terms of allowing young men like yourselves to really have more control over their visitation and hours. But every time I push for you guys to have more control over your hours, you guys do things that are contrary to my belief in you guys being mature young adults.
Okay. So you do advocate for a 24-hour visitation policy on the weekends. The weekends being Friday afternoon to Sunday morning, midday.
Yes. I would say I would agree with that.
Okay.
I would think that was okay.
What about a 24/7?
No.
Okay.
I think as freshmen, you guys are not mature enough to handle a 24/7 visitation. As can be seen by you guys' GPA, with just the hours of visitation that you have now, not including a 24-hour weekend schedule. I think if you guys could show, I think I advocate for a 24-hour on the weekends, but it would be determined on freshmen taking up some more responsibilities upon themselves to be able to do work and to be able to just control your guys' appetite for extracurricular activities outside of Morehouse College and academics.
So you do think that the current visitation policy helps students with their academics?
Yeah, I definitely think so, because it limits your options to do things that might not be supportive of you doing well in school. I know the first day of visitation, it was like 100 guys in the lobby just waiting on girls to come in to see who would be the first girl in Brazil. That's not a very mature thing. And for gentlemen to be that excited about seeing women, I can only imagine if you guys got more hours, what the state of you guys would be. Yeah, and then it's just you guys. Although my Brazil residents are some tremendous fellows, you guys tend to try to extend hours past the rules that are set. So we would have to once you guys. I feel that if we give you something, that you guys should be respectful of those rules, and based on how respectful you are and your work ethic, I think we could discuss with housing and administration in terms of increasing hours and things of that nature. But if like the whole GPA.
How do you feel about the current visitation policy as it stands?
I feel as if it's a waste of time. I feel like if a student believes that he should have a female over here 24 hours of the day, and he wants to not do his work and fail, he should do it. But I'm not going to do it.
How often do you think visitation is violated?
Every waking minute of the day. It's just every day.
Do you think that students can handle a 24-hour visitation on the weekends?
I feel that we could. I believe that they could, because it's the weekend. You know what to do and what not to do. You're a grown man. You know, if you know you got schoolwork, I believe that you should do your schoolwork. But visitation really shouldn't jeopardize what you do. But it does. But it shouldn't. It's fine though.
Do you think the current visitation policy helps students focus on their studies?
No. No. Because they're so busy trying to break that current visitation rule that they're not focusing on their work.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for yours.